I met her at a dimly lit room at the Soho House in Los Angeles. She was advertised as part of a panel of musicians who were chosen to speak about the emboldened voices of women and the radical change that they initiate through music, activism, and feminist badassery. After hearing her speak, I never forgot her. Kiran Madam Gandhi is a drummer who's toured the world drumming for British Sri Lankan superstar MIA. She's an activist who went viral for running the London City Marathon free bleeding on her period. And she's a songwriter whose lyrics evoke a message of positivity meant to elevate and celebrate the female voice. When I first saw her, it was 2016, and not a lot of folks were speaking about the radical ideas Kiran has lived and breathed all her life, especially not women, brown women, queer women. 3 of the identities Kiran inhabits, owns, and turns into a freaking party on the daily. You know how babies, like toddlers, like they don't know if it's safe or not till they put it in their mouth.
Yes, I feel like that.
I feel like that about you.
Yes, yeah, I'm definitely like that.
From Vermont Public, this is Homegoings. I'm Myra Flynn. This is an episode we're calling Your Superpower is Your Only Option. We're a proud member of the NPR network. Welcome home.
Oh, well.
Your daughter's in the front row. You better not mess up. When your 4-year-old's in the front row. Hi, all. How are you tonight? You came out. Kiran Madam Gandhi, welcome to Homegoings.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's so awesome.
Honored. So honored to have you. So I met you a really long time ago. I don't know if you remember it.
Tell them the story.
How would we describe Soho House to anybody here who hasn't been there? Like, what is it? It's an anomaly.
I'm like, there's a literal definition, then there's like the farcical, humorous definition. I mean, it's just a place to go and work and order food and work on your laptop and remote work kind of thing. But it's definitely, it's a whole scene for sure.
Yeah, because maybe like James Blake will pop up and like do an impromptu set on a keyboard.
Cool, yeah.
Or maybe you might just go and see your friend Sam Sparrow and Madam Gandhi together on the same panel. And I forget what the question was, but folks were trying to talk about kind of dating in the industry, what that was like, how like suppressed and oppressed still queer folks were feeling at the time in being able to engage with their queerness and not hide it while also making dope music and charting.
Sure.
And I think you got up and you said something to the effect of like, why do you care about who I'm
Oh.
And I remember just being like, who is that?
That's so funny. You're bringing up that conversation from the Soho House all those years ago, and I think it's so important for us to be really authentic about our identities. But what's interesting about specifically politics in the US, especially as I spend more time abroad, is that so often we are actually reduced to our identities excessively. And I think there is a necessity for that because, of course, we have to advocate for marginalized communities, for voices that are not heard and overlooked. At the same time, it's really fun to exist in the multidimensionality of our personalities, of our likes. And I think, when it comes to queerness, I've always felt my queerness is a superpower, especially navigating the music industry. There's something about stepping into my queerness that has allowed me to form really sincere relationships with the men, especially who I collaborate with, because there's no confusion around the nature of the work relationship. I think a lot of times romantic desires get in the way. And I think for me, it's actually protected me by being quite forthright about my identity. It shouldn't be so, but that's been a positive experience for me. And then I think exactly that, I find it really important to lean into my queerness, but also my South Asian heritage, my identity as a big sister, my identity as a New Yorker, but then also a global citizen of the world, someone who loves both thrifting, which we'll get into, but then also luxury fashion. I think it's just important for us to step into the authentic multidimensionality of our personalities, because then we not only give permission to each other to do the same, but we push the understanding of each other's identities forward.
I mean, right? That's question number one. Hello.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, this is so fun. So we're choosing an outfit for tonight, is that correct?
We're choosing an outfit for tonight, but I was also thinking about your song Date Me.
Yes, thank you.
And I wanted to know if you are in the mood to try anything on, if you're feeling it,
Yeah.
we could dress each other to go out on a date. Though.
I love it. This is genius. Oh, look, this is a William Shakespeare. That's cool.
Isn't that cool? Oh, cool. It's a tie-dye William Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I just liked the juxtaposed.
How would you feel if I showed up with this to a date?
I'd be like, what a cool person. You came in a cuddle suit. Like, what are we doing in the restaurant? Like, this is a vibe.
I think I'd be like, look, I'm trying to tell you not so subtly that I have cats. Could you describe what you do?
Yes.
Because it's so much.
I think I understood from a young age, to answer your question more on a profound conscious level rather than like a resume level, that my life's work and my life's purpose would be to use music as an opportunity to change the world just a little bit, to use my lyrics for something that's good for you, to use my messaging and my music videos as an opportunity to describe the world I wished we lived in. Growing up in New York, we had this school bus driver named Harrison, and in front of all of the parents, he would play classical music. But then as soon as the doors closed of the bus and we drove away, he would turn it back to Hot 97, which was the hip hop station. And so I was like 5 and 6 years old growing up to Nas and Lauryn Hill. You know, it's Manhattan in the early 90s. It was such a vibe. And I understood from an early age that songwriting, that lyrics, that rap, that hip hop, that pop music really can give us this insight into somebody else's walk of life. So quite simply, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, but really my why is that music has the opportunity to open us up to receive, and that's where I think the magic can happen.
You also are like a boxer, a yoga teacher, a DJ. You are such a motivational speaker. I don't know if you I don't know how you feel about that title, but you definitely feel very motivating.
Thank you.
As well as a musician. And so I just wonder what's like the golden thread for you with all of these things? It sounds like it's your authenticity, which is great when you can find it, you know? And the world, I think, does a good job of trying to get you to bury some of those things or feel like you don't have enough time for those things or you won't make enough money doing those things, especially when you're a woman of color. So what's your secret sauce?
When I hang with the yogis, I come back to my own sense of meditation, my own ability to ground before, coming onto a stage like this. I learned the importance of being able to move my body for half an hour when I'm traveling. I learned the ability to be a leader in not only just through my speaking, but also through guiding people back to their heart self. When I hang with the boxers, I learn discipline, I learn hard work. Sometimes some abs come on the top. That's always a nice win. My partner is a former Olympic selection team boxer, and so I've learned a lot from her discipline as well. She trained me for my first fight this year. I won, so that was an incredible experience. And I hope to do another one this fall. I'm a seasoned marathon runner. I've run 7 marathons, one of which was the famous sort of London Marathon free bleeding. That was a really powerful moment in my career.
Can we say that again, but slower?
My own it moment was probably at the London Marathon 2015. I decided to take some Midol for the pain, bleed freely, and just run. In 2015, Myra, I ran the London Marathon and I ran it free bleeding on my period to combat the stigma that so many of us who bleed face all around the world. And it was absolutely sort of a radical act of protest to just say, women bleed, people who bleed, and we do it bravely and powerful while being parents, while being CEOs, while being leaders, while going to work. And not only are we expected to sort of hide it away, we're not celebrated in the bravery and the brilliance of our power. For me, being in different contexts energizes me. It doesn't drain me by doing the same thing every day. it also gives me like a sense of awareness. Like, what are other people going through? What are the sort of common threads of what I'm experiencing in my real life that I can then thoughtfully write into my music? When I hang with people who only stay in their lane, they're so good at what they do, but there's a slight lack of awareness of the fact that there's other people having completely different experiences than you, and they're not going to agree with you. You know, I chose Madam Gandhi as my artist name because my last name is Gandhi, and I wanted to celebrate our South Asian heritage. It's a strong last name. But I also wanted to create a little separation from my own personal growth as Kiran. The boxing, the running, the yoga, it helps me feel strong. It helps me combat my own self-doubt. It helps me stay honest and authentic on the journey. And then when I feel like I've sort of healed a wound, I graduate it up to the Madam Gandhi project because it's bulletproof and it's sincere, and I can answer questions about it without being too in the emotional weeds of it. So that's also why I like to do these activities privately to expand myself as an artist.
How did you get so aware? And I'm going to ask that, but I'm also going to say, fun fact, you also went to Harvard Business School?
I did.
Because you just had so much free time. Yeah, it seems like you kind of eat life, like with your hands. How did you come out?
My Indian grandparents are going to be so grateful for that. They were like, fine.
life. I want this. I want to try this. I want to try this. And then you try it. Like, you know how babies, like toddlers, like they don't know if it's safe or not till they put it in their mouth.
Yes, I feel like that.
I feel like that about you.
Yes, yeah, I'm definitely like that. I'm like, they said it's not safe, but let me try it out for myself. I want to have a firsthand experience of it. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I get lit up by stuff that I've not seen before, and I get lit up by experiences that push me and teach me. It informs my music, it informs my ability to communicate with a myriad of different types of people, which only makes the work more effective. It makes life fun, interesting, challenging, raw.
You said something to the effect of, you know, for better or for worse, my father always taught me how to walk in my masculinity.
Yes,
and that was something that was always protecting me. I really want to unpack that because that's a really complicated thing.
Man, it's definitely so complex. I mean, my parents had us when they were 26. They're very young. And my dad also went to Harvard Business School. And he's just like super alpha banker, top student, Baker scholar, Taurus, like just so in his Indian dadhood. And yeah, I mean, even when he was encouraging of my drumming growing up, I was so skeptical until I started applying for colleges. And what's interesting about his misogyny raising a daughter, was that I think he was like, women are going to be treated badly, women are not going to be respected, mostly maybe because I don't fully respect women, so therefore I'm going to raise you in your sort of tomboy power. And this is sort of my analysis of it. And so what's interesting is that I feel very confident. I feel very powerful. The way I walk is because he championed me from a young age, was very encouraging about the different things, very bringing that alpha dad spirit, which is like, why can't you drum for MIA and go to Harvard at the same time? Why can't you run a marathon? He printed t-shirts also with my face on it at the London Marathon and stood at the finish line, which meant so much to me. So in many ways, my father and that healthy masculine energy really championed me. At the same time, I think when I was younger, anytime that I had a date to prom, if I was sort of more in my feminine outfits, he would be so uncomfortable, probably to a detriment. And so it made me uncomfortable in my feminine because there was this kind of gaze of like, no, like this, I can't have you out in the world like this, you know? And so it's interesting because I do think we live in a world that's challenging for beautiful women to walk in the world as their beautiful female self. 100%. Like the goddess energy is too strong for the world that we live in, isn't it? Amen. Yeah. So it's interesting because I think there was a protective mechanism that I think to this day has benefited me. I would say now in this part of my life, it's really important for me to like lean more into my healthy feminine and to like make sure there's a balance that's not just as a result of my childhood, but that's like authentic to my own expression. And yeah, we all are given the sort of gifts that create these superpowers on the back end, even though they are from perhaps a traumatic place. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're lucky, you can turn them into a superpower. That's like,
it's our only option.
I love it.
It's your only option. It's otherwise you'll suffer. So just choose to work on it. That's my advice for you. Yeah.
Nice.
I like these mushroom pants. Oh my gosh, let me see. Look, they're great. Oh my God. I want to see those.
Okay,
Yep.
check them out. You have so many. I have none.
But these, I'm selfishly, I'm like failing at the assignment. I'm just dressing myself. The idea of dressing somebody else is terrifying
It's
to me because I'm
daunting.
like, yeah, because I'm like, they know what they need.
Yep. All right, we're gonna dress ourselves. That sounds like a plan because I'm also just like the warm colors. I don't know. Okay, so I'm not gonna dress you for a date, but I do like the idea of talking about Date Me, and you just mentioned your partner.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you all go on dates?
Yes, we're very intentional about that actually.
That's cool because
Yeah.
I think you were saying in our last interview that she's got some kiddos. Oh,
Exactly,
I like this color
yep.
a lot. So you have to be. I have one
Yes.
child, and it's hard to go on a
Totally.
date, like / impossible. So what do you wear? Like, what do you like to do, and then what do you typically like to wear?
That's really a great question. For our 2-year anniversary, which was like a month ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. We met at a mocktail bar, like a sober, like creative, like non-alcoholic aperitifs bar in East London.
Oh, cool.
And like I'm telling you, when she walked in, I think like I was like, wow, you really made an entrance. Like I was like speechless.
Like
She was
like
wearing.
Beyonce. Hair
Yeah,
was,
yeah. I
blowing
was
in
like
the
so.
wind.
I was like, oh my God, which is so fun. It's so fun to like fall in love with your person and witness them in their greatness. But she was wearing like this neon, like bra situation and then neon pants with like a
Hell yeah.
maroon oversized blazer, which also definitely had a vintagey feel. And it was great because she was giving like just came off work vibe. Like it was just like I'm like the stay-at-home dad and you're like the executive. Like that's what it was giving.
Oh my God.
It was
also,
very sweet.
Like the neon is just like casual. Like,
Yes.
Just coming from work. Oh, I like this. See this like chartreusey color?
That's beautiful.
into
Such a
that.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should try that on. That's gonna be fun.
I might, and I'm also thinking for tonight.
Dope.
Shoulder
That's
pads.
fun.
So how did you end up drumming for MIA? Like, what's your musical, like, stunt on us a little bit. Tell us what you've been doing.
In my undergrad, I went to Georgetown and I was a math major, and that was my South Asian flex. And so when I got to my internship at Interscope Records, which is in LA, which is home to Kendrick Lamar and Lady Gaga and some of the top artists in the world, I knew that I wanted to get myself a full-time job. But after 2 years, I remember just being a little bit jealous of my friends who were touring as the drummer for this artist or the sax player for that artist. And you know, for those of you who are listening, I think jealousy is one of the most useful emotions. If you don't, let it get the better of you. Jealousy is one of the most useful emotions because it's showing you authentically what it is that you want for your own life. And not only should we be jealous of somebody else, really the opportunity is thank you for showing me what's possible. You've lit something up within me that I didn't know was possible, and now I want to go and go for it myself. So thank you, and taking that a step further, even more so is the reason why we should be shining our own light and pushing for our highest potential, because it's showing others what can be done. Wow, that's the opportunity. We feel bad sometimes, but actually it can be motivating. And so I remember telling my boss, MIA really needs a drummer. It's my favorite artist, somebody, she could use a drummer who's female, somebody who's brown, really looks the part. And so I had sent an email directly to MIA. They forwarded it along, and it was me drumming to her music. And then one thing led to the next, and they were like, okay, yeah, cool. MIA loves it, and let's take you on tour. So it was very, very special, and it was at the same time I got into business school. And so the first semester, I looked at the dates and I was like, this actually is possible. And so I used to be in the class Monday through Friday, and then we'd fly to Poland and play Poland on a Saturday. And then I'd come back in time for Monday. And yeah, I definitely didn't tell my dad until after the fact. And also, like, I got the amount of grades, I got the lowest grades possible before they ask you to leave. But here's the thing, like, what do you call a Harvard MBA with like a few threes? A Harvard MBA. So I was like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. Like, I'm here participating and I'm here learning, but I'm also traveling the world like as a rock star. So this story is better. Yeah. So I made that conscious choice, and life requires conscious trade-offs.
So this show is called Homegoings, and a homegoing is, for me, it's a great example of what is the brown and black experience sometimes, because it is to both walk daily while mourning and celebrating. And when I speak to you and I listen to you speak, you are such an amazing example of positivity, and people are learning so much from your lyrics and gleaning so much. And as a woman myself, I'm sitting here, I have been for years, watching you, not in a creepy way, and just admiring that.
Thank you, Susan.
When do you mourn?
My sister and I joke a lot about our mom because she's so positive, but she also has like no capacity for female emotions. Like she's just not interested in us being sad about anything. Like she finds it unnecessary. Like what's there to be sad about? Your life is good. And it's like, Mom, we're grateful. Nothing is a critique about your motherhood style. We're just managing our own emotions. In terms of what I actually mourn about, definitely I feel overwhelmed in the cultural zeitgeist, of course. Privately, usually it's related to my own sense of like self-worth and confidence going up and down. Maybe stress, feelings of overwhelm, managing too many things at the same time. And before the pandemic, I was always traveling. I was really at the height of my career. I had just toured on Oprah's stadium tour. We were opening Oprah's stadium tour. These are the biggest audience I've ever performed for in my life. TED, Forbes 30 Under 30, just like really on paper, strong accolades. And when everything stopped, I had to really sit with myself and I was like, wow, my confidence is actually quite low. And from a young age, I've been taught to be deriving my self-worth from the outside rather than from the inside out. And of course, that kind of work takes time, it takes awareness, takes bravery. But letting go of that stuff helped me take the first step to really sit with myself. But yeah, last 4 years, I feel like I've worked so actively on my private healing journey that it feels nice to come out of these 4 years with the sun shining even bigger. You know, you get rewarded for going through your own trauma, for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
I know when I'm all alone, I get stuff done. I know when I'm with you.
Little simple vibe.
Yes,
It's just like the same thing that I was wearing before.
Except just really blingier and fishier.
Pisces.
Yes.
A yellow Pisces, a golden Pisces, are you kidding?
I feel like you're like still you, and I'm not going to be me.
This is great. But
You ready?
oh, it's
I
fab.
feel like a little Janet
It's
moment
so
is
good.
happening. Look at
No,
them.
you look
That's
so
the
cool.
reaction.
Yeah.
Is it the shoulder
Their
reaction?
reactions get theirs.
No one's ever picked that up.
It looks so good. Yeah, it looks like you've been wearing this. Yeah.
Looks like I was born in this.
Yeah, you were. It's so sick.
I know. This place is so rad.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Poor dude. All right.
See you. Bye.
I know I can be crazy, but I can be safety. Why don't you date me? Don't you have somewhere to take me? I said you never chase me. I know I'm not a maybe. Please don't erase me. Why don't you date me? And you always amaze me. I have for you daily. I know I can be crazy, but I can be safety. Why don't you date me? And I've been holding out for something so much bigger. I've been holding out for something so much wiser. I've been holding out for something so much stronger. I didn't know that I didn't belong here. I didn't know that I didn't belong here.
Ready?
Thank you. Make some noise. Mwah. Everywhere I go, I always have so much to learn. And just the way you articulate yourself, the way you analyze the world, it always keeps me fresh and honest when I get to be exposed to minds like yours. And so what is it that you are mourning? And when you think about homegoings, what comes to mind?
Gosh, you know, I think of myself as somebody who never got to have a lot of innocence. And so I think I mourn that daily. Yeah, just playfulness. I miss that. I'm not the most playful person unless you really know me, and then I'm straight silly, and then that means we love each other deeply.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and when I think about a homegoing, I think about, you know, where I would like my funeral to just be straight up funny. I mean,
That's
you know,
awesome.
and silly and playful. So I think about that a lot.
I respect that. My partner actually went to a funeral maybe a month ago, and she had left me a voice note saying, like, thank Goddess for Black people, man. Like, this is the right way to send somebody off. You know, she herself is mixed as well. And I think she was just leaning into gratitude around the sense of celebration, authentic honoring, space for emotions, like drumming, beauty, honoring the fullness and the natural cycle of life. And also, death is the very thing that makes us live, isn't it? It's the very fact that there is mortality. If you only had a year left, we better get working. We better get back into our purpose, isn't it? You know, there's so much right now, especially in this country, that's keeping us distracted, whether it's the phones, whether it's the advertising, whether it's just random entertainment that we don't actually need. Like, what if we were guided back to our purpose rather than told that we need to have a distraction? I think there's an opportunity there for us to just go inward rather than living on the outside.
A word that you use often when I speak with you is consciousness. And I think people use that word in so many different ways. I've heard it in hip hop, conscious rap. Some people mean it means being aware. Some people it means like to be deeply thinking. How do people arrive there that may get sucked into the jealousy and not be able to get out? Or an industry thinking that they have to do it a certain way. How do you consciously arrive where you want to be? Do you have any advice for folks?
Yes, absolutely. I think the most important is for us to spend time with ourselves. And nature is one of the most effective ways for this, which you all in Vermont know this better than anybody else. I always learn that when I come and hang with Kanika. But when we spend time with nature, nature is homeostasis. It's just the isness. The birds are doing their thing and the mountains are doing their thing and the tree is growing. It's just the honest truth of what's happening. There's no attachment and suffering. There's just the isness of nature. And so when I sit in nature and after 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days of turning my phone off, what happens is all of the email chatter starts to finally shh. The Instagram chatter finally shh. My to-do list is less important. And then after day 5, 6, 7 of really just spending time in nature with the phone off, what then starts to come into the mind is your own homeostasis, your own sense of why have you been put on the planet? What actually matters to you? What kinds of thoughts are coming to your mind? For most people, sitting in meditation for hours and hours is like a form of cruel and unusual punishment. But once we get past the monkey mind, which can be done with some breath work, obviously with yoga, or just listening to nature as a musician, that's a big opportunity. What I've noticed is only what really matters to you is all that's left. And when I sit in meditation for when I've let days go by and I finally am immersed in nature and settled, I start to think about my family and I'm like, oh gosh, my family, I love them so much. I'm so grateful. I start to think about my mission, my work, the only things that matter to me. And so this distills life for you. It makes it more clear so that then when we go back into the matrix world, there's a sense of a true north. What actually matters to me, because all my decisions should be optimizing for that. Let's say we get 100 years on the planet, okay, if we take care of ourselves. Let's make it count. So that's it, yeah.
Karen, Madam Gandhi. Yes. Thanks so much for joining us. If you want to continue to be a part of the Homegoings family, stay in touch at homegoings.co and subscribe to the Homegoings podcast wherever you listen. Take good care.